Want to earn ad revenue from X? Well, you only have to pay the small price of giving your entire identity and personal information to Israel. That's right. Starting July 1st, 2024, if you want to earn any ad revenue on Twitter, you have to submit your ID to a company called Authentics. So I feel like it is important to remind people that before you did have to submit your ID in very specific situations, but if you were receiving subscription revenue exclusively, but you weren't a premium member, for example, you didn't actually have to submit your ID because you got your money through Stripe, which has its own verification process. But this is something entirely different. But let's talk about Authentics and why this is way more nefarious than Twitter requesting you give your ID to just one random Israeli tech company. Now, people like Whitney Webb and others warned us in advance when Elon started this new verification process that ID verification, banking, and all of that stuff will be tied to our social media, and we're seeing it unfold right in front of our eyes with this Israeli tech company. She was warning us because of companies like this one that isn't based in the US, but in fact is an Israeli company based in Israel. And as outraged as many of you are about having to use your ID to authenticate yourself on Twitter, I have some bad news for you. If you've used recently PayPal, eToro Investments, Fiverr, even Coinbase, this company in Israel already has your information. Oh, excuse me, let me be clear. Mossad has your information. Now, other than the obvious reasons that many of us would have a problem with an Israeli-based company having a hold of our data and information, experts are objecting to this because Israeli-based tech companies actually have a history of data breaches. Now, for most of us, a history of data breaches would be a red flag, but you know, this is Elon. So he sees red flags and is like, wow, look at that apartheid carnival over there. I wonder if they have whack-a-mole. Oh, but the origins of this company is where things start to get a little bit more nefarious. You see, this company was founded by alumni of Israel's intelligence unit 8200. Unit 8200, also known as a Central Collection Unit, specializes in code decryption, counterintelligence, cyber warfare, military intelligence, and surveillance. And Unit 8200 is the largest and most important intelligence unit in Israel. How lucky were these alumni from this super specific unit to find such a successful company to the point now where they're actually about to manage the data of one of the largest social media organizations in the world? Oh, probably because it had nothing to do with luck. Because alumni from this Unit 8200 have gone on to found many cybersecurity and tech companies, and somehow have managed to make sure that they're all able to stay in Israel. That's just like super coincidental, right? And I just find that super weird because I remember US Congress literally complaining that TikTok would use the data that they gather from US citizens and give it to China, and they would have no choice but to comply, and therefore we had to shut down TikTok. But I guess this situation is different, but I digress. Did you know that it was alumni from Unit 8200 that created and sold the Pegasus software to repressive governments that was responsible for multiple human rights violations around the world? For those who don't know or don't remember, the Pegasus software was used to target and spy on at least 50,000 journalists, activists, and senior officials. Experts have even gone so far to say that not only is Israel happy to allow the alumni of this particular intelligence unit sell these harmful tools and software to other countries, but it's actually part of a diplomatic strategy. But you know, it's not like Israel has a history of collecting and gathering information on important people and using it for blackmail to get what they want. So maybe it starts at the monetization process on Twitter. But like Whitney Webb said, it's a very slippery slope. Because if we know one thing for sure and two things for certain, what Elon said today has no bearing on what he will say tomorrow. And it might start with monetization today, but tomorrow you can be certain everyone will have to verify themselves based on Elon's history. And at a time where Netanyahu and Israel and its allies are literally threatening openly Palestinians and their allies across the world, what happens when they all have to verify themselves in order for them to have a voice on social media. And Israel and its allies have a habit of openly targeting dissidents, especially when they know where them and their family live. So Elon fans, y'all gonna say something or...